Brews and Banner Podcast. Banner Podcast. Brews and Banner Podcast. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Brews and Banner Podcast. I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, is the legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
I got water, I got, juice or whatever. He's like, got any twin legs? Matter of fact, I do.
My question to everybody is, does Delaware have an actual culture? This is the podcast that we talk about beer, but we also talk about a lot of things that's happening in the world, politics, movies, anything really that comes to our mind while we're here sampling these brews. Grab a drink and pull up a chair.
Yeah, it's for the people. This is street radio for unsung hero. Riding in the Rego, trying to stay legal. My daughter found Remo, I found it. Primo, yeah, you know how we do it for the people and the struggle of the brothers and the folks. The lovers of the dope.
We do it for the people.
The people. My daughter found Nemo. I found the new Primo.
People. Yeah, try to tie that in. No? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We got it.
Sir. Yeah, I understand.
We get what you was doing.
All right. What up? Welcome to Bruising Banter Podcast, where the topic is the rockin' and the brew. Well, that be the fuel. And I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, the legendary Brew Crew. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Hello.
What is going on, everyone?
Hi.
How y'all doing?
This is episode 136 of Bruising Banter Podcast.
That's why we're laughing.
Don't get him started. Don't get him started.
I don't understand what happens.
What? It's it's episode 136. I'm just happy to be here.
That funny.
That top button, boy, got you a little choke job.
Is his work shirt? You think it's work shirt?
I was trying to be professional for this.
Back in the office, boy.
I was trying to be
work
professional for the interview.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Like I said, this is episode.
Me.
What did you say?
I said, look like you fix computers to me.
That could be true. That's nothing wrong. That's no problem.
Cut help this. Here you go.
Yes, sir. 136.
Episode 136 of Bruising Banner Podcast. So we do have some great guests with us today. So we're gonna bring them in without further ado. We have Mr. Theodore Mack II, and we have Raj and Jeff from Oak Park Brewing. Let me bring them on to the podcast.
Thank you.
Nice. Welcome
back. Welcome back. Oh, the double parade wave. You double fisted the parade wave.
Back like they never left.
Yes.
If people didn't catch them the first time,
they back.
Then they can go back and listen to the other one.
Yeah, for sure. Because they're talking about more things today than they were last time. One thing they were talking about one thing before and the new thing now. So welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
I know it didn't make me
Something in the past and something in the future.
Good layout for what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, we always like to know if anybody's drinking today. So, what are we drinking today? We always start with our guests. So, Mr. Mack, what are you drinking today?
Well, I already drank it. But it is the 50th anniversary of People's Beer Can I wanted to present to you, brother.
Nice.
Awesome.
And that is when we relaunched People's Beer in Sacramento last year. And this year, because of the great insight of my brother Raj, which has us here today, that we can have blacks to tell their story. And one of the amazing things is, since I know I'm going to be going to Sacramento in a couple of weeks or next week, I had to go back over some of the things my dad wrote. And one of the main things he said is that we can do it for ourselves. The whole thing about People's Beer was not about him buying a brewery. It was about empowering the black people, the black community, and showing what we can do when we put our minds to it. And to see that Raj is taking it to another level, and we have all these black brewers across the nation telling their story. And I love that too, because I mentor young black men and older black men. I tell them, you know, you got to stop listening to their story, their history, which they talk about. They keep us raced out of it, right? But the reality is, you're going to be able to tell your own story in your own words. And that is power.
Yeah,
because words have power to create or deflate, but it's up to you which way you're going to take and which course you're going to take. So I'm glad to be here. It's very exciting. And it's good to see you brothers do what you do.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Preacher.
Yeah. Well said.
How do we follow that up, Rob?
All right.
Yeah, y'all next.
Year.
y'all next.
You better piggyback off of that. You better make it right.
Give me a monologue.
You've been under the Max tutelage. You got to say something.
Now, Rod and Jeff, what are you
canned
drinking
this beer today. It's our Summer Moon Hazy IPA. We canned it today. It was a collaboration we did with the yoga studio to celebrate the autumnal equinox, which, as you know, just happened. We talked about a few minutes ago. And they're doing like a yoga class beer release party on our patio tomorrow. So,
oh, nice,
cool.
Yeah. So I'm sipping on. This is actually ironic that Jeff brought this beer here. This was the first beer that I produced at Oak Park. Yeah. So this used to be a home brew, but now
your background. Yeah.
You know, this is our brown ale. We actually brewed it for a competition this year, and it's called the Dewey Brown. So very tasty and.
It sounds like it's a pass me another. What's your ABV on both of those?
The brown's 6.5-ish.
And Summer Moon 6.9.
Okay.
Hey,
we used Mosaic, Citra, Galaxy, and Amarillo in the Summer Moon. So,
as we like to say, it is Takashi. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, what you drinking on?
So I have today from where is this from? Oh, this is from Artisanal Brewworks. Bow. Can you see the can? Nope. It's the Snow Cone Sour.
I saw that.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a 6 point. I mean, yeah, it's just 6% ABV. But this is what it looks like in the glass.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Very
that look real nice.
It's supposed
wine
to be
coolerish a little, like or wine like.
Yeah, it's a little sweet.
Is it?
I can tell that, yeah. But it's supposed to give you that feel of that snow cone juice at the bottom of the snow cone back in the day. You know, I think it said that they use some great flavors, and some lactose and stuff. But it's really good. You can taste it. Tastes kind of grapey and it tastes juicy.
Grapey.
Yeah,
grapey is the word.
Juicy.
Like Welch's? Like Welch's?
It tastes like purple.
Okay.
All right.
Not hazy, but just purple.
Yeah. But it's good.
That's right. That's what's up. Lou, what you drinking on?
Let's see here. I went to New England Brewing Company and I tried the strawberry rhubarb Weiss Trash. That's what it looks like. Can y'all see that there?
Weiss.
It has some Weiss.
Say it again, Weiss.
It has some Weiss. It has some Weiss trash people on it. See that? It's
I like the wordplay in the arcade.
Yeah, right. It's a German style tart wheat ale with fruit. The fruit that I taste is strawberry, like the lady on the can. Strawberry face lady.
Oh, she got strawberry head.
Yeah, it's a 3.4 alcohol by volume. It's delicious. This is really up my alley. I love this. Pass me all the numbers.
You really up my alley.
When I go down my alley, this is there.
That's it.
This is down there.
All right, Dad, what you drinking on?
All right. So I'm drinking on this is a double IPA from Logo. They're out of this is 4 Points Brewing out of let me see if I can get this right. Charleroi, PA. I'm gonna say the answer to that right. Charleroi, PA. This is their double IPA coming in at 8.5 ABV. This has Citra, Mosaic, and Vic's Secret in it. This
Yeah,
again, this is their logo.
Ain't got nothing else to do tonight.
Yeah, he turned
Right.
on.
Right,
He going
right.
straight to bed after this.
Yeah, it's so delicious, as you can see by the can. It looks a little like orange juice, very hazy, very little head. But
It looks really thick.
this is a pass me another, and I'm gonna have another.
You're gonna have another one. You definitely going to bed.
Okay.
Then you say it was 8.9 or something.
8.5.
8.9.
You know, I like
Yeah,
6%
yeah.
higher. You know,
Yeah,
that's me.
well,
Cheers.
Nighty night wins those.
Cheers. I might have
Rob
took a nap today. I might have just got up.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Maybe.
right.
Maybe. Blessings if you did. Right. I did not. Hey, Rob G.
Yes, sir.
Late night, man. We're doing a late night show today.
Yeah.
I don't think you. Well, it doesn't matter.
well,
Whatever.
people-
They know now. They know now. They know now. I told them. What you drinking this week?
I'm actually drinking, and sometimes I don't really want to open the can because I love the artwork so much.
Mhm.
But I actually do have an Oak Park beer right here with was it
yeah.
there we go with the power to the people
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
Who, that
team.
Harriet Tubman?
It's Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harriet.
Shout out to Harriet Tubman. I'm drinking something with
Yeah.
strawberries in it.
Right.
Oh yeah, she did like strawberries. She did like strawberries. That's right.
Mhm.
I don't think she ever had a snow cone, so I can't.
What?
That might have been a thing.
You think so?
It could have been.
She
No.
nice.
Shaved
Could've
nice.
been, I don't know.
It's
Ice
not
was
complicated.
expensive back in the day. So I don't know.
You said ice
Oh
was
yeah, I guess
expensive?
because there was no refrigeration. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Ice was booming, a booming business.
So no
This
snow
is
cone.
6.7.
They had enough money for that.
It's 6.7 ABV. It's Southern Passion African Queen hops from South Africa. There you go. In celebration of Juneteenth, power to the people. Oak Park, and well, it's everything on his logo though. It's got the people's beer, and Harriet and the crown and Oak
that's a
Park's
nice
logo. Everybody logo on there, but it's the can is so nice. I'd be like, I don't know if I want to drink it.
So you haven't opened it yet?
No, I didn't know.
It might be eclectic. I mean, a lot of people like Milton's artwork, so you might need to hold on to that one.
Yeah, I had one of those the other night, and it was still pretty tasty. So
Where'd you find that at?
I got my stash,
Okay.
man. I got my stash.
I'm asking all these questions.
Only drinking beer, drinks them too fast.
Mama drinking beer drinks up all your beer. You drank up all my beer.
All right. Well, like everybody has a good beer today, and so but we are here to talk about Brew Your Story and the first annual People's Jubilee. Is it Jubilee? Harvest Fest?
Time.
Harvest Time Jubilee.
Harvest Time Jubilee.
Okay. Because it's on the side, so I was like, I don't know, is that you say that with it or not? All right, so it is.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is the first
Harvest Time
annual
Jubilee.
People's Harvest Time Jubilee. All right. So we do have the people here that are putting this together, making it happen on October 2nd. Is it October 2nd?
It's coming up. Right around
So
the
it's
corner.
right around the corner in
Yep.
Sacktown.
I wish it was really right around the corner so we could be there.
Right.
Well, I was saying the date was around the corner.
I know.
Yeah.
I said, you know. I got you. We all got
We
it.
know.
So without further ado, we'd like to know what is it all about? What is Brew Your Story and all of that, and all that is entailed in that.
You sure you
Yeah,
didn't drink
man.
beer? It's a little off.
It's the work shirt. He usually got a
It's the work
Bruce Banner
shirt,
shirt.
exactly.
It's the work shirt.
He need to let his
Oh,
backbone
man.
die.
I need to what?
Let
now?
his let his neck breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, I like my. Hey,
Next.
It don't like you. You might like it, but it don't like you.
that's my
All right, let me go.
What? It's your uptight
Hey,
look.
man.
That's what it is.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna about
fellas-
you forever.
Wait, brothers, take it away.
Yeah, so with the People's Harvest Time Jubilee, it was actually gonna be named something else. It's like when we did the event last year, I was fired up and I was like already thinking about next year. So it was gonna be, I was gonna name it the Sons of Mac, but then I was like, well, we have some female brewery owners in brewers in the industry, so that name's not going to work. So, long story short,
You could have used
man,
SUN.
about 5 or 6 months ago,
Mhm.
it hit me, and I'm just writing everything down on paper. And just like, what are you doing? I'm like, leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm like, I'm going. But we came up with the name, the People's Harvest Time Jubilee, because it's going to pay homage to Mr. Mac and those that are, went before us, those that are present, and those that are going to be in the future. So it's all about sowing seeds, planting seeds, and paying homage, And the Brew Your Story part, that was actually something that was added about like 3 or 4 months ago, because we started talking about griots, how they always tell stories. They had like the oral history of
Right.
everything. And we're like,
Yeah.
it's like nobody's going to tell your story better than you,
That's right.
So we just ran with it, but it's paying homage to the past, present, and future.
Mm,
That's dope. That's dope.
nice.
I lost my questions.
Well, being as though it is a festival, right?
Yeah, so here at Oak Park, we're having a little beer festival here. We got Hunters Point coming out. We got Ella Coastal coming out. Field number 15, which is a winery / brewery just up the road from us. And then we did 2 collaborations, one with Beer Talk Now, Daryl, and then Brewing with Brothers, we did a beer with them. So we're going to have 5 to 6 different beers here, and then they're also bringing different beers. But the beauty of this is it's nationwide.
It's international.
So like you said, you know how you wish you were around the corner from us so you could come. There's probably one in your area that is doing this.
Okay.
Brew Your Story beer, and you can go get it there and hear their story. And that's the beauty of this whole thing, is it's not all confined to Oak Park. It's across the country, Costa Rica, to where all these Black-owned breweries are brewing this beer, their style of their choice, and then they're releasing it at their facility. Some of them may be having little beer festivals at their own location as well. So it's not about Oak Park. It's about the greater good, the bigger community of life, and just really, trying to move that needle. So
that's what's up. So how did you guys get it to permeate to the point where it became global or international? Did you guys reach out to breweries? Did they reach out to you after they saw a post or saw something that you guys had put up?
So, with that, there was an article that came out like about a year ago with the Black is Beautiful campaign. So I started with all the Black-owned breweries that were on that list. So there was about 80. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot my shot and hit everybody up and see if anybody's interested. So I started doing that right in the middle of March 2021. I got a few hits. It's like with brewers, most of them don't have access to their social media or their web page.
Right.
So around June, it's like we started hitting it hard, man. And we got a few responses. And, out of 90 breweries, I think, in thirds. So we got about 30 some odd breweries on right now. I wanted to bring home brewers on because they're the future, and specifically like Black home brewers, because we want to share our story. If we don't do it, somebody else will, and they won't tell it the way probably won't tell it the way we want to tell it.
Right.
But it was crucial to do it with all Black breweries this year. If we can get the other 60 on board next year, it's going to be phenomenal. And then we can open it up to other people. But we got to come together as Black people in craft beer, and we got to make some waves. We got traction with this from last year, and I was like, man, we can't let the traction dissipate. So
good. So with them coming on, did you guys have any I guess sort of like bylaws or criteria that you wanted them to follow to make sure that the theme, no matter where it was, was the same or consistent?
Yeah. So that was one of the things we talked about. So I wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want it to be a headache. I didn't want anybody to go out their way. So there was a few things that were like, hey, brew a beer, put it in a can, slap a label on it, and promote it and hold an
Right.
event. That's it. You know,
Okay.
straight to the point, no headaches involved. And you know, like I said, we got 30 some odd breweries out of 90, so that's a win in my book.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, so basically each brewery can brew whatever style of beer they want. We didn't want to limit them on that because obviously it's their story, it's their beer, it's what they're most proud of, right? So we didn't want to like limit that in any way, shape, or form. They're just all going to have a similar label, the can with the guy with the Brew Your Story logo. They are in a couple of different color options, but they should all have the same logo and the same can art. So
Okay.
Is
And
there,
we all,
go ahead, y'all go.
Oh,
So-
I was going to ask in terms of the coordination. Is there like coordination? Is everyone having the same event at the same time?
Yeah.
Is it all October 2nd, or is it you drop it when they feel like they need to drop it?
Yeah, that was the goal, but like always, you got those stragglers.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're like, hey
Give them a
man,
little
whatever
nudge.
you can do it, promote it. We're gonna put, like, if you go to the website, Brittany and Becca, I gotta shout them out. Like, so
Definitely.
mad. They're putting that work in. They created the website, the Instagram page. They're doing all these graphics. You know, they're putting in some work. They're not. None of us are sleeping. You know, I
Right.
was up this morning at like 1:30. I had to be here at 7. I wanted to sleep at like 6:45. You know, so you know, we gotta push this initiative, man. It's a beautiful thing, and if we can get ourselves together, we can do big things. So,
Mhm.
and the vision is big. I don't know how all the pieces are going to come together, but I know it's going to happen because we have the traction, and it's going to be like Voltron or the Transformers, whichever one you like. So,
I
yeah.
like Voltron. Voltron's cool. So funny. You don't like Voltron?
I like
That's just the way you said it.
I like both sides. Both sides cool.
Was October 2nd a specific date, like a special date for you guys to launch it, or just that was just the Saturday that y'all
Well,
said?
we wanted to do
Right.
it on the whatever, like the closest Saturday to October 10th.
Right.
Okay.
You know, so you know, just so happened we have a lot of stuff going on in October. We're going to be at Blacktoberfest in LA on the 23rd, and I have to go to Vegas the 8th, 9th weekend of October. So the second made sense, you know. So we're like, okay, you know, we'll do it. And if anybody wants to participate and do their own thing after that, we're cool with it. We'll promote it, help you promote it, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, we wanted to do it on the Saturday close to the 10th,
Gotcha.
but, you know, life happens.
Yeah.
And I just want to let you know that the 10th is the day that my father brought People's Beer back in the day.
Okay.
And so last year we did the 50th anniversary of People's Beer. We relaunched it, and this is actually the original recipe. Okay. And so we relaunched it with the original recipe, and then this great idea with Raj that did what Dad really wanted to do was empower us. And this is an opportunity for the next generation to do their thing in the beer industry, because there are millions of beer drinkers out there that look like us, but they have to be educated to the art form that you brothers are doing. And really, craft beer, as I'm learning, is an art form.
Absolutely.
And you have to make sure that the people learn to appreciate that which we do, because we are very creative. But we have to market it right, do it right. And I always say, do it in excellence, right? So, hey, we can have fun and all that, but let's do it in excellence so you can make something of it. You know what I'm saying? This can be like a snowball on top of a hill going down a mountain. And it's going to get so huge at the bottom that's going to encompass everything. We have an opportunity to do that for us. And that's all my dad wanted to do, see? And I'm sitting here listening to Raj, and I said, this is the vision Pop had. He wanted, and he still, and you know, this right here, People's Beer, hey, we still going to do that. But it gave us all a connection in the community to say, this is us. It's not a black beer A white beer is a people's beer. But what you're talking about right here is we're empowering ourselves to what we can do.
Right.
And I love the ideal that Raj came up with. He did, and when I did a speech last year, I said, think big, do big, and be big. That brother did all those things, and this is the result of it right here.
Congratulations.
He had a,
So let me ask this.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you guys were saying that homebrewers can get involved, like what does that entail, and like how are they involved in it?
All right, so with the home brewers, we just threw it out there. Hey, brew a beer. They'll have access to the beer label. They can put it on a bottle or whatever. They can manipulate it. Just promote the event. Because like Jeff and I, we both were home brewers before we went commercial, and I think we're on the same mindset as in regards to like paying it forward. So we're approachable. We encourage people to step to us if they want to learn how to brew or sit in on a brew day. Bring it, come in, learn something. And I'll share a quick story real quick. So we did a beer festival last weekend, and we hadn't, in 2 years we hadn't done anything. So I'm just slinging beers, trying to talk to people, and all of a sudden this guy just pops up. Hey man, remember me? And I'm like, no. But then he goes, no, I brought my beers to you guys, and you guys reviewed it on your Chill Out and Have a Cold One live stream. And I was like, oh, it was Isaac, right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, man, by us doing that, it sent him on his journey, and he's brewing with all of these different commercial breweries, and he's up in his game, and he was just telling me about his journey, and I was like, hey man, if you ever want to come through, bring it. This is what it's all about. We want to be inclusive, and we also want to educate people, because at the end of the day, it's just beer, So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, the other aspect to it is, like Rod said, we both started as home brewers, and I would venture to guess that at least half the brewing population started home brewing, right? So, this thing, we are definitely paying homage to Mr. Mack. He was the past, right? He set this up. He started it. The present is the brewers that are doing it now. So all the commercial brewers out there now that are doing it. In the future, in our eyes, are these home brewers that are getting into it. They started home brewing. The ones that we've talked to all have aspirations of starting their own Black-owned brewery somewhere in the United States. So for us, it's also giving them a platform to start getting their name out there. Brewing with Brothers, they're looking to be the first Black-owned brewery in East Palo Alto, which is in the Bay Area of California, and they're both home brewing now. And that's what they're doing on their side job while they're working full time. So for them, it's given them a resource to kind of get their name out there and start pushing their vision on what they have and for the brewing world that's coming up, right?
That's what's up. Now I know you said that breweries were brewing all over the country and some even internationally. Like, not you don't have to name all of them, but like because we have listeners all over the place, could you name like an East Coast, West Coast, South, like brewery that maybe are part of it?
Yeah, so we got Spaceway, Soul Brothers Brewing. We got Hella Coastal.
Hunter's Point.
Crowns and Hops hit us up today, so they might be jumping on Weather Souls. War Cloud. There's a lot of them. So I get lost in the sauce if I don't have my my list in front of me.
We got it.
Yeah.
I mean, those are heavy hitters too. I mean,
was Two Locals part of that too? Was Two Locals part of that?
Two Locals. I think they're going to promote it. They reached out to somebody and it didn't work out. Okay. But I did talk to those guys. So Forest City hit us up today. So they're down.
All right.
Yeah, some other ones on here. We got Boomtown, Black Calder, Main Street, Chula Vista, Full Circle, Hella Coastal, Proximity Brewing Company, Soul Brothers Brewing Company, Delview, Biscuits and Beer, Spaceway, Rod said, Vanessa House Beer Co., Vine Street, Weathered Souls, and 23rd Ave Brewery. So
it's
yeah.
It's a nice list. I mean, and it looks like it's growing. It's not even.
Yeah,
it's
every day it seems like somebody else is coming on.
So before next year, you might be already at the 60.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah, that's and we're gonna do it even bigger next year. So it's like we show grace whenever you want to come in and get on the
Yeah.
bus. Let's rock.
You guys are promoting the individual people brewing and showing their story, but where can we get their beer? Can we get the actual beer that's going along with you guys' promotion? Is there anywhere where it's like distributed regionally? Like we got the California beers that you can be here, or the South beers, or the Northeast beers. Is there something where we can get the collaborations or the inspirational beers?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the only thing that I can share is like just reach out to the breweries, some way, shape, or form. You can get that beer. Jeff and I started a candle company. So
candle shipping company.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would like a 6-pack of candles, please.
Yeah. So where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's nice.
We just want to shine the light on everybody.
Dev, candles smell delicious. Dev.
We love candles.
They do. Man. So I had a question that was more centered around just the history and the lineage for you, Ted. I mean, I know I have stories of what it was like growing up, and when my dad would send me to the fridge when his boys would be over, like for football or whatever, to grab a can of beer out of the refrigerator, and I'd ask, could I crack the can and maybe take a little first sip. Sometimes he would say no. Sometimes he would say, go ahead. I'm just curious, like, what are some of your fondest memories of your dad, and some childhood memories that you may have just with the people's beer when you were you were young and you were watching your dad enter or just be in the midst of the brewery.
Okay. Well, People's Beer, being the first black man to own a brewery, and what's crazy about it, see, this is a brother that started out picking cotton. Okay. He picking cotton in Alabama, Platteville, Alabama. Okay. And he said one day, I read in his book, Country Boy, in his book, he talked about he was in the field behind a mule, right? And he plowing the field. Okay. He comes from a family where his mama was the daughter of a slave, right? But the mama said that land means something. So most people were sharecroppers, but Max owned their little piece of ground, right? They went and worked in other people's field to make that money when then they did their own thing. So that entrepreneur spirit was always in us, right? But he plowing the field, right? And these white guys drive by in a truck and they start laughing at him. And I'm just going to say, they said, nigga, don't you know you supposed to ride a mule, not walk behind it? And see, that stole a piece of my father's heart. It crushed him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told another story in Prattville, Alabama, about this store that they had to go. You have the country store. It's the only store there, but it's white owned, right? So he goes in there. He's a young kid, right? And he knows the owner's son, who's a young kid too, just like him, right? Where this time he comes in there to buy something, and he's talking to the son, and the daddy says, you, from now on, boy, you got to call my son, sir. And my dad looked at him and said, I'm not going to do that. And he said, oh, you one of them uppity niggas too. Like them other uppity niggas think you too good. He said, you going to end up dead and drunk in the alley at the age of 30-something. And this hit my dad too, because he said, here is a man trying to tell me what I'm going to be and what I'm going to do. It was those two main things that Dad said, I am not going to be out here picking cotton. That drove this dude to go to Ohio State University.
Wow.
Playing football with Woody Hayes. Then going to Marquette University and getting his degree. Then being a civil rights leader in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Putting together the March on Washington from Wisconsin. Okay? And he was the one that got 40-something buses to go down to Washington, D.C. When he gets back, he says, okay, this is great. We're getting our voting rights and all of this is great. But you know what he said in his book? True power is going to come when we own something. And so that's when he started looking to own something. And he was doing the civil rights thing, you know, he was fighting busing, he was doing all kinds of great things, right? And he was a social worker. He got his degree as a social worker, okay? They started having him train these new white social workers, right? Dad's training them, right? You know what they do, right? They promote each one over him.
Exactly. After he trained them.
After he trained them. And then Dad said, listen, because he from the country. They called him, when they played football, they called him the Wild Bull, okay? Because they said he didn't take no stuff. Anyway, he didn't take no stuff from white folks either. So they told him that, you know, okay. They gave him somebody else to train. And Dad said, if you do it again, I'm out of here, right? You know they tested him, right? They did it again.
Of course.
You know what Dad did? Walked out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Black man left that good paying job. Then they blackballed him and he can't find another one, right? So the brother end up working at A.O. Smith, which was, they built the frames for cars back in the day, right? So he on the line with the other brothers on the line. They laughing at him because he got a college degree and he also is pretty famous in Milwaukee for what he did. This college degree civil rights leader is on the line just like us. This dude. My pop's like, yeah, because I got to feed my family. So he handled his, right? So one day he's coming home. He walks up to the door. There's a white man standing there. And my mother tells him, this man been here waiting on you. So my pop's like, okay, yeah, I am, you know. And he said, Mr. Mack, do you know who I am? And then he introduced himself. This was the CEO of Pabst Blue Ribbon beer.
I'm curious how'd he find about your dad? I'm curious. This story is good. Sorry.
Listen. This cat, not only CEO, but he was the Chamber of Commerce. He was the chief of the Chamber of Commerce. He was the president of it, right? This time was when Martin Luther King got killed. Now, see, remember them riots we had for Black Lives Matter?
Yep.
That wasn't nothing compared to what happened back in my day.
Right.
They did bring out the tanks. I remember in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, hey, somebody running down the street, they told me that the corner store is letting you get free candy. Well, I'm a little kid, right? So I said, free candy? Oh, Deke ran down there and get him some free candy. I got my free candy. I'm eating my candy. I got as much as I can. I can eat my candy. I didn't know I stole the candy.
All right.
I just got the free candy. I turned the corner and there were these white soldiers coming down the street. And there were tanks. And I felt as a young kid, they were pointed at me. And I ran home. got in my room, and I guess I hid the candy because I didn't get rid of the candy. You know, I ate the candy. But I thought they were coming to kill me. So I leave my room, and I'm thinking that they're going to knock on the door and they're going to kill me. But I remember one thing. The wild bull was in the house. The wild bull is going to handle anybody that comes in, black or white. He was that kind of dude. He did not play. So my dad had this guy at our house. And he said, Mac, I want you to come down and examine the brewery. And my dad told him this. He's this kind of guy. I'm going to tell you what he said. Now, you're going to hear me cuss this time. He said, I'm not your house, nigga. He said, you need to recognize that. And he said, Mr. Mack, I know exactly who you are. I've seen you laying down in front of the buses for civil rights. I've seen you lead the Wisconsin delegation to the March on Washington. Well, I know who you are, Mr. Mack. That's why I'm talking to you today. And then my father said, okay, what time? And he told him right when we open. So my father is about business. He's about handling his. So dude told him, man, maybe 8 o'clock, all right? My dad gonna be there at 7:30, right? So he was there at 7:30 because he wanted to show what kind of man he was, right? My dad get there at 7:30, thought he gonna be waiting on this cat. Guess what? He was there waiting on my dad. My dad said, another man of excellence, all right. So he gave my dad a tour, right? This Pabst Blue Ribbon, baby. Gave him a tour of it, right? And he said, hey, how many blacks did you see? And my dad said, not as many as I have fingers on one hand. And he said, is that right? And my dad said, hell no, that's not right. He said, Milwaukee is about 30-something% black. Your workforce should be 30-something% black, not just less than 5.
Right.
And he says, we agree. Because, see, what the white businessmen decided at that point in Milwaukee was that we have all these jobs. We have these plants, these foundries and all this, but they're all white. And Milwaukee was burning, right? And they said, we got to do something different. It's about the bottom line. It's about this too. Okay?
Right.
So they said, we need to get blacks in our workplaces. But the president said, well, it has to start with me at Pabst Blue Ribbon. I'm one of the biggest employers. My father said, okay. He said, Matt, since you said that's not fair, and I agree with you, and the council agrees with you, and we're about to do something about it. And then my dad told him again what he told him at our house. I'm not a house nigga. And he said, I know, Mr. Matt. He said, but what I want, I have to integrate this company. He said, I need somebody strong to do it, a leader to do it. And I chose you.
Nice.
Amazing. That's amazing.
And my dad said, all right, under one condition. See, I'm a black man stepping into a mostly white world in business, in management, which is kind of unheard of back in the day. And Dad said, I only report to you. You agree to that?
That's
we can
right.
talk. The dude said, you only report to me.
Yeah.
Now, my dad was serious about his business. He integrated it, right? And he got tested, you know. He got tested from both sides. You know, this is right when it was hot, baby. It was hot. The racial thing was hot. It's like it's getting kind of now, but it ain't like it was then.
So
right?
when you say by both sides, you mean by our own people and by whites, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Just because they weren't used to us being in that.
Oh no, you ain't supposed to be there. He told me the first day he's in there, he wrote in his book, and I just cracked up when I read. I said, "Dang, pops, you know." He said it was this big old country fed white boy up in there, right? Big. And Dad said, you know, he said, "What is this for?" And he touched it. And the dude told him, "Don't you touch that." And my dad said, "What did you say?" Dad touched it again. He said, "Don't you touch that." He said, "Listen here." He said, "I don't know who you think you are, and I don't know who you think you're playing with." He said, "But I am a manager here, and I can touch anything in here. I don't care if you about 8 feet tall, you know, and look like your house, you know." And Dad said, "Man, we be going at it right now. I'm a country fed dude, right?
I'm not scared of nobody."
Oh, no. He was a wild bull. But then in his book, it cracked me up because he said, "But that's one fight I didn't know if I was going to win."
Hey, yo, I'm not going to let him know that.
Yeah, but he didn't know that. Right. And you know what? After Dad stood up to him, that dude ended up becoming one of his best friends in the plant.
Sometimes that's how it is.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's how it
Bullies
is.
bullies just need love.
Yeah. So that's
somebody to care
it.
about.
And then
to stand up to
one
them.
other story I'll let you guys know is that when the plant broke down, none of the white managers wanted to give the extra overtime when it got fixed. But my dad was like, "Shoot, if we don't get this beer out of this brewery and get on the shelves, what's going to happen, gentlemen? Somebody else will, right?"
Right.
And my dad said, "That's how I feed my family, is that shelf space."
In modern times or in supply chain now, that's called like a force majeure. You know, that's what it is.
What's it called? What is it?
Force majeure. When you have more people, you know, you have more demand than supply. You need to get it. You need to get it out. That's what it's called.
And then if you do not control your market or your space, your competitor takes it. Okay. And once you give them an inch, you ain't getting back in there.
No.
You know, and that's the game, you know. So my dad said, "I'll sign for it." And the white manager was laughing and said, "Now that he gonna get fired for sure now." So the next day, he went home. He told my mother, right? And my mother said, "Oh no," he said, "I might be fired tomorrow." She said, "What did you do now, Ted?" You know? And you know, my pop said, "Just, you know, I'm just saying, you know, I'm not gonna back down to nobody, you know."
Right.
And I'm gonna make the right decision. I'm not scared, right? So when he get in the office, the CEO's secretary come running into his office. See, my dad had his own office, right? And my dad had a black secretary, the only black secretary there, right? He told him when he got it, "I need to have my own person, somebody watching my back." And that's what he got a secretary for. So he did all that. And she said, "Mr. Wyndham," his name was Wyndham, "Mr. Wyndham wants you in the office right now." My dad said, "Okay." He got up, kind of figured that was it, followed to the president's or to the CEO's office. And he was like, "Matt, is this your signature?" My pop's like, "Yeah." He said, "Take a seat." My dad said, "Nah." He said, "I'll take this standing up." He said, "Matt, why did you do this?" And he told him exactly why. Because your family and my family, we get fed because we got beer on those shelves. We lose that market share, we lose jobs, and it could be mine. And he said, "Matt, you the only man in this company have balls enough to stand up to me." and make the decision like that. He said, I'm going to let you learn everything in the brewery business, except being a master brewer, because you got to go to school, become a master brewer. You went to school for whatever, but you're going to learn everything else. You can always hire a master brewer, right? So that's what my dad did. And while he was there, there was a company that blacks that was part of Pabst Blue Ribbon, right? Blacks had their own little foundry and everything in there. And my dad went and examined it. Well, there was a antitrust case against Pabst Blue Ribbon because they had this other company. They like, you can't have a monopoly, right? They were that big. So they had to divest themselves of blacks. But my dad worked inside, right? So he going to the white secretaries and getting information about blacks and all that. And they didn't know what he was doing. What he was doing is doing a business plan on how to buy it because it was going to be bidded, right? But he had to have the money to drop. So my dad wrote the proposal, sent it to New York bankers. New York bankers were so impressed, they said, who wrote this for you? My father said, I wrote it myself. They're like, you need your master's or doctorate in that, man. You know. He said, okay. Right. They said, we're going to fund you. And this happened to be a black bank, right? We're going to fund you these millions of dollars. So on the day of the auction, everybody did theirs, and then comes in Black Enterprise Inc. These black dudes, they put in their bid. And guess who won? Black.
Well, I'm about to say I'm familiar with Black Enterprise, so
yeah, no, but that wasn't it. That was before they got the name.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say maybe they won, but they
lost.
Yeah,
well, they won the bid. They won the bid. But this is how systemic racism happens. This was a bid. So if you win, you're supposed to win. The highest bid wins, right? Well, this day, you know what happened to the highest bid? He bid it 9 million, 9.5 or something like that. They let G. Heinemann, you know them, right? They let them rebid 10.5.
Crazy.
Huh? Yeah. And it was an inside deal. And my dad he knew this later on, but he knew they playing that game on it, right? So they said, okay, give us time to rebid because he already knew the property was worth millions more. He already knew that. The property and equipment. So he was going to, once he got the appraisal, he could have came back and got all the money and won the bid again. But what the judge do? He stopped the bidding process. My father had a march. They protested in Milwaukee. They fought hard, but they lost. And so he lost the brewery. He said, we're mad. He said, but we didn't act like they wanted us to act. We were sharp, intelligent black men. And that's how we went out. How we came in is how we went out. And my dad said, we shall be back. And that's how the People's Beer started in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's another story.
That's what's up.
That.
I told y'all gonna have something for you, right?
Well, yeah, that story is amazing.
I don't know if that was the beer in the fridge story, but
well, to me, it is though, because
it kind of is.
My beer in this fridge story is just my experience.
Go get the beer.
He experienced his
Right.
dad.
He had the creation of the beer. I get it.
Right.
Like,
What's up?
Before you go get this beer in the fridge, let me make it.
Yeah.
But you know,
his story dates back like to that show. Remember that documentary on the two black bankers who started their business, where Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh
documentary. No,
I remember that.
And you know what? I forget.
One of my best friends called me up about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they said it reminded me of your father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he said your dad.
I'm picturing like the whole time that I'm like listening to this story.
But you know, it made, because the whole time when he first started talking, I was thinking, well, what made his dad get in the beer? Like, but answer my question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't give me.
And you know what? He didn't drink beer.
I never heard you tell a story about him drinking beer. So
his whole objective was, look, I got degrees, but I'm on this assembly line and I need to work.
Yeah.
It wasn't that the passion was the passion for his family. That's really what his passion was.
It was twofold, my brother. It was passion for his family, but he loved his people.
That's
true.
True.
Because he said, I got to create jobs. I got to own something. I got to get out here and show them how to get out here and make it happen. Because this dude used to put governors in office.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He had that kind of pull. He knew how to work the political system. He knew how to make our vote work. And so, Pops, he was that kind of dude. And on the weekend, when I wanted to go and play, I remember one time, more than one time, he took us to the brewery. This big giant semi drove up. It wasn't nobody in the brewery, but the Max and that driver of that semi. You know what my dad told us? You're going to have to fill that truck with the order.
Wow.
Let's go.
On the work.
And the work.
All that, right? I know he got to be kidding. I'm a little kid, right?
I'm trying to play.
But guess what?
He said, you got arms.
Dude that picked cotton wasn't having it.
Right.
And we all had to do all the way until that truck was filled. He taught us, if you want something, you got to go get it. You got to grind hard.
Right.
He was able to grind hard, and he wouldn't let nothing stop him. Entrepreneurship is about risking to take the challenge. And Ted Mack Sr. stepped up to the challenge, man. I was here, man. I was thinking what I was going to do with you guys. And I know I wrote a book about him. And he wrote his own book. But I was going to read you like the introduction to the book, of my father. And that should be coming out very, very shortly. Okay. I'm doing a podcast that will be coming out. Nice. You can find all my stuff on tedmack.com.
Okay.
They're working on my website right now. Should be done by the 2nd.
All right.
Congratulations. A lot of things changed since the last time we talked.
Yeah. That was episode 90, by the way.
Right.
And that was a while ago then.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, brothers, for giving me an opportunity to share the story of Ted Mack Sr.
Absolutely.
And know that you are doing what he would want.
Right.
He wants to see black men stand up and make a stand and do something. All men, really. Because his saying that said, people's beer is not a black beer, not a white beer. It's a people's beer. It's a beer for the people. And what he was loved is what you see in that picture over there at Oak Park. You see, look at that picture. Yeah, you see them? Yeah. See them?
That's
Yeah.
horrible.
Now I call them the Opak twins right there.
Oak Park Twins.
That's great.
Opak
That's great.
twins.
That's
You
like
know,
serial killers. I don't know if I want
Nah, they
the
look like brothers.
reality is
That's just my
there
son.
is
Oak
a
Park
certain
twins.
kind of
Oak Park
energy
brothers.
at Oak Park.
Right.
When I went there's a certain different kind of energy there, man. They're about doing the right thing, working hard together. Let's make it happen, and letting us have a voice. You know,
That's up.
in this country, that's the problem. They don't give us a voice.
Yeah.
And whenever we I wrote a book. This last book that I wrote, well, I'm writing one right now, but the last one that I completed was Empowering the Kings of the Next Generation, Black Mentorship, right? So I get into it, and I'm dealing with what we have to do to get our thing together. And then God sends me into the historical. I said, before you know your future, you must know the pain of the past. The problem is, in history books, we don't see us. We don't know us. Once you get my book, you're going to know us. You're going to know everything about us. You're going to know it from A to Z. And then you're going to know how the Black man can stand, which is an organization I'm starting very soon, Black Man Stand.
Nice.
Our story, our struggle, our strength. So, you know, it's about to get on, brothers. You know,
Sounds like it.
But one of the greatest things that I see happening to us is that seeds of ideals are being birthed right now. I look at Raj, I look at how we're doing, and Jeff. Man, I am so excited that it took 1 year for this to come together. You see what I'm saying? And I know they had to grind hard to get it to this point. Multiple people. You know, for me to write a book, I'm up 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I may write 14 hours. It's like these ideals start flashing, and I can't stop. The creative process, I can't stop. It's like, man, I'm doing something, then another ideal come. I sleep, and an ideal come, and I have a pad by my bed because I have to write right away. Then go in my office and put that to the computer or put it written down where I have it, you know. And that's how this last book came. All this was like, to me, it was like God inspired. I'm like, man, I didn't write this book. But when I gave it to an educator to look at, it blew her away. She said, stuff that's in here I didn't even know. You know.
Well, I can't wait.
So,
Like
those will be coming out, brother.
To pivot off of your story, Ted, like I know from me hearing it you know lights a fire for me personally to do more and do bigger things. I imagine for Raj and Jeff, that's, you know, hearing compelling stories like this probably isn't the first time you guys have heard it or heard Ted talk about it. What did it ignite in you guys?
You know, just you know, early on when I got into home brewing, I was like, man, let's see if I can find any black brewery owners or black brewers online. Mr. Ted Mack Sr. was the first person that popped up. You know, so I read about his story. It wasn't a lot of information, but years and years later, I went back to find that information and I couldn't find it. You know, so it was suppressed. But you know, that just sent me on my journey, man, because like this goes back thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
Absolutely.
You know, we are beer.
Right.
We are beer history. You know, and you know, it's like I said earlier, man, if we don't tell our story, somebody else is going to tell it, and they probably won't tell it the way that it needs to be told, or it's going to be suppressed.
Definitely.
Right. And then, like, hearing the story, like, I could understand how you guys could be inspired to do the People's Harvest, because it's just like, if hearing stories like that would, I mean, if I was a home brewer or even just a brewery, and I heard this story, I'm like, yo, I gotta tell mine. Said
Yeah.
put mine out there. So even if I'm just putting mine in the can, that's still gonna tell my story.
That's
But
right.
yeah, it's very inspiring.
Yoda, that's a
Very.
good segue into a question I have for Raj and Jeff. Are the stories that are being told, where can we find those? I just want to find everything. I want the beer and the stories. Where
That's a good
Maybe dope. You
question,
maybe put a
man.
little
And
something on a can. I don't know. I just as you saying
I
it.
I want like a YouTube
Me
channel
too. Yeah, that's what I was
where
thinking
you
when I
can
said that.
just
I
like
want to see these
or even
people.
on even on the actual website, the Oak Park
Yeah.
website, just something where.
so
Go ahead.
what I was gonna say, uh, you can go to www.brewyourstory.com. You can see all of the stories. There's like every brewery that participates, we're linking it up to where they have their own site to where they can put all this other information, yada yada yada. You can see what they're doing, and I got to give that like credit to Becca and Brittany for setting that up.
A lot of organization.
Yeah,
moving parts.
Imagine.
because you guys can go to Instagram and see like the 1 minute clips that they're putting up for everybody to see. But you go to the website, man, they got some stuff going on. So I'm always like mesmerized when I go to it. I'm like, man, they're kicking ass.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
it's definitely a great website for sure. I was on it the other day, and it has a lot of information. Like you said, a lot of the stories about Mr. Ted Mack, the Jubilee, the black-owned breweries that are on there. And even if you want to participate, you can even actually go there and actually drop the information in and be a part of the Brew Your Story family. I guess it is. I guess or the movement. I guess it's a movement. I guess it's a movement.
It's a movement.
It is a movement.
Yeah.
It's like with Beer Talk now. He's not a brewer. Daryl's not a brewer, but he has a platform that's showcasing what's going on in the beer world. So everybody's relevant that's doing the work. And I've had a lot of conversations with Daryl. He knows my vision behind what we're doing with the People's Harvest Time Jubilee Brew Your Story. It's bigger than me. And like I said, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, but they're going to fall in place when they're supposed to fall in place. But as long as we keep the traction going, we're going to make this happen.
Now you talk about that beautiful mind session, like in terms of your vision, and you saying it's bigger than you. So, like, is there some pieces that you can share with us that you want to see, if it didn't happen in this first year, but what you want to see in the future?
And I'll say this: all we know is what we've been taught. When you hear something and you know it's not right, you know it's not right.
Yeah.
Going to banks, basically begging for money, and then when you get it, you got to charge interest on it. I'm like, the best person you can invest in is yourself. We got 90 black-owned breweries. If we can work together, we can create our own and sustain. So this is, like I said, I have the vision. I need to have the skill sets around me to make everything happen. But something just told me to do this.
Okay, that's
Amazing.
what's up. That's what's
Amazing.
up. Um, yeah, excited to see how the first annual goes, and I guess it grow as it multiplies in terms of the name. Second annual, third annual, fourth, 10th annual.
Yes.
Hey, it's infinity.
If I'm still here,
Yeah.
it's gonna keep on growing, and I'm thankful that God dropped that little that big ideal into Rob. But see, this is the issue: when we get a seed of an ideal dropped into us, do we water that ideal with work? Do we water it with saying, I'm going to birth this by stepping out? When he did, and then, like he said, he's not doing it by himself, right? The people to get it done is already around you. Relaunching people's beer. See, this right here, brothers, I'm looking for this to continue to grow, to fulfill the vision of my father. and it shall be done. There are things going on that's going to make sure it gets done. But it's going to take grind. It's going to take.
Your dad behind you?
What's that?
Is on that plaque. Is that your dad in the picture behind you?
That's actually the event we went to last year. A poster was made of it, and I framed it, and that's it.
Nice.
And that's one of the 50th anniversary cans, I believe. Nope, that's a regular can. It says from Oshkosh to Oak Park. See, my dad took us to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. He wasn't even going to go to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. When he heard about this brewery, People's Beer, he said, "Are there any black folks there?" Because Oshkosh was known for being the headquarters of KK Clay back in the day.
I did not know that.
And my dad knew it. When Wallace ran for office,
into no setup.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And they said there are no blacks but students. But the brewery is great. So Dad said, all right, we're going to check it out. Tell them you have some beer inspectors coming. That was the cover story. And then he called up Wyndham after he looked at it, because he said, man, it looked nice. But Dad was smart. He said, you know what? I'm not an engineer. I don't know if it looked nice, but it's tore up at the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Wyndham said, I owe you one, talking about what they did to him. So he sent his master brewer and his top engineers to the plant, handled some things for Dad, and told him it's a good brewery. And so my dad made that move. And we went to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, about the only black family there. At the school, it was not another person that looked like me.
Can you? I'm just picturing this. Like, it's just great.
No, the bull had us ready.
Yeah.
The night before we went to school, we weren't even in our house yet, man. We were staying in a hotel, all this stuff. He's like, listen, there's probably gonna be some that challenge you. But I'm from Brewtown. That's what we call Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Brewtown. That's where I'm from, right? And so in the hood, I knew how to handle myself, okay? So something happened. Dad said, don't lose. Because if you lose, it will happen to you every day. Because you're the only one there that's going to look like you.
Right.
So in all the school, so I'm thinking about how I used to do it in Milwaukee, and I said, I got to take it up a notch.
Take it up a notch.
And my father said, you got to protect your younger brother. So now I had to protect him and stand my ground for me. I did it. I didn't lose. But I also got respect.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, when we left Oshkosh, this is the trip part. In the neighborhood we went into, there's some racist people in that neighborhood.
I believe it. My
dad had to confront one of them because they told my sister that he could not walk in front of his house. They told him, cross the street. You can't walk in front of my house. So from where I came from, Brewtown, I went and confronted the brother. But then I said, okay, my dad gonna get here.
Right.
All right.
Dad know what's up.
All right. You ain't listening to a kid, but the wild bull is coming.
All right.
And when we told Dad that this man said that Patty could not walk down the street. You think he went down there and said patty cake? Nah. He went down there and let him know who he was. Let him know what he would do if he ever said another word to his children. He said, I fought in Korean War. This is the same cat that told the sheriff when he came that if any of the hotheads or the clans come to our house, he said, I'm not calling you. I'm calling the coroner.
That's right. I'm
to
not
pick up that dead body off my
Right.
property.
That was talking about.
He said, I ain't worried about that. Nobody mess with us, right?
I guess
that
not.
dude that told my sister that she had to cross the street, guess what? He moved out of the neighborhood. Okay? Our next door neighbor, my mother tells this story. My next door neighbor told her that that same guy was talking about how the Mac kids were breaking stuff and in the neighborhood and doing all this stuff, tearing down Christmas lights and all that stuff. It wasn't us. I knew who it was. It wasn't us, though. And this neighbor, he's in the store saying that, you know, to other white folks, talking about them black kids. And he got so angry at that dude because he knew my dad, right? And he knew us. He knew because of Wild Bull, we definitely ain't doing that, right? Because I didn't want to deal with him when I got home.
Right.
See, he ain't one to go sit you in the corner. He wanted to go handle it right then and there. Because you represent him, right? And he tells you represent blacks and you represent Mac. And you better carry it both right. So this dude knew what kind of family the Macs were. And he got angry at this guy. And so angry, and the store got on the uproar that the owner of the store had to come kick that dude out of the store by talking about my dad. That's kind of effect he had in the community, right?
Right.
So, you know, when I talk about my father, when I talk about this vision that Raj has, this sounds like Dad to me. This sounds like something he would do. Because he was all about us. Now he gonna handle his business too. But he always had a plan. Okay? He used to always say, I said, dang, Pops, you were that bad, huh? When he lost people's beer, when the government took it from him, then fulfilled something that they said they were gonna do. Surprise, right? He was upset. He even said that he thought about driving his car into that wall. But he said, I ain't gonna let him get me like that.
Right.
He said in his book, I always carry a couple of business proposals with me. So one drop, I got something else hot, ready to go.
Like
this
fire.
brother, after People's Beer, he ended up being the administrator of a black hospital, black nurses and all that, and had a war almost with Blue Cross Blue Shield because they did not want to pay them black folks. When my dad got done, guess what? He did the impossible. All of them got paid.
They got their money.
He handled his business.
That's what's up.
That's how he do. You know.
Nice.
All right. I know. I know. I don't know. I think you mentioned them briefly in terms of the artists of the camp, the artist work and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to talk a little. If y'all want to talk more about who the artist is and what they're doing with the can art and all that kind of stuff and the labels, I guess.
Yeah. You want to do that, Jeff? Talk about Milton.
Yeah, so Milton Bowen, he's done a lot of work for us here at Oak Park. Him and KJ are pretty tight together. He did a lot of the artwork mean, he did all the artwork for Kevin's Restaurants and Fixins. But we connected with him over the malt liquor we did early on. It's called the Original Brown Bag Hood Ale, and he really was just about, hanging out in the park with like his uncles, and no one knew what they had in their bags, so that always like intrigued him. So he came in, did a label for us with that, and we just became really good friends with him, and he supported us. He's very active in what we do. He did the Black History Month labels for us. He did the Jubilee label for us. He also did the Juneteenth label for us.
Peace, Liquid Peace.
Liquid Peace. So he's a big part of what we do. He's a funny, lovable guy. He's always smiling. You got to check him out at Milton 510. He does amazing work. Like I mentioned earlier, some of these cans are collectibles. Like, we got this dude coming in from Berkeley every so often. His name's Billy. He's like, I just collect these cans that Milton does because I know Milton. He does amazing work, and so we got to give shouts out to Milton for what he did and what he does for us on a daily basis. So
good looking out, Milton.
Absolutely. And I know you talked briefly about the event, the first annual Harvest Time Jubilee, People's Harvest Time Jubilee celebration on the 51st anniversary of People's Beer, the event that's happening at Oak Park. But there's other events that are happening as well. I know there's one, another one on the 2nd in Cincinnati, Ohio as well, and I guess is Esoteric Brewing Company. Is that correct?
Esoteric, yeah.
Esoteric, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's their 1-year anniversary party where they're launching this beer at their 1-year anniversary party as part of the celebration. So, it kind of ties it in throughout the community. It's not necessarily all at Oak Park, but it's all across the country.
Right.
Yeah, and if I can chime in real quick, so just another concept behind this idea, it's like we're in COVID right now, so people aren't coming out to the breweries, and we have access to our brand to let people use it and make some money, so we're not selfish like that. It's like I'm not, Jeff's not, Becca's not, so it ain't about the money, but it's like if we can do something and let people ride our coattails and make some money, let's get it, man. It's like things are hard out here right now, so I don't want to see any businesses closing down because nobody's coming in. This is an opportunity. You sleep on an opportunity. If you're closed next month, hey, it is what it is, but hopefully they can bounce back. But it's more, there's so much more to this. It's like, this is one of those conversations you would have to have behind closed doors, because there's so much more to it.
Right. Because I also see that on October 1st, there is the community beer, Brew Your Story exclusive beer release in North Charleston, South Carolina. I didn't know there was the North Charleston, South Carolina, but here it is.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah, I didn't either.
Like South Charleston?
Yeah, I guess
mainland Charleston?
Yeah, October 1st from 7 to 10 in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Wherever that's at, that's nice. Yo.
Yeah,
it's probably a little north.
Now, of the beers that you have brewed for the event for Brew Your Story, which are you canning? All of them, or which ones are being actually canned?
Yeah,
in the can store.
Everything we brewed here, man.
Everything's going in a can. Everything's going in a can. But so we work with Brewing with Brothers. We also work with Beer Talk Now. So we're canning those beers. So we brewed our beer. We're going to can them. So when people come to the festival, they have the option. We have a limited amount of tickets for the event. You can get them pre-sale right now for $20. But once those tickets are gone, it's like you might have an opportunity to get in at the door. But the beers that we brewed, they're all gonna go in the cans.
Nice.
You're not gonna be able to drink them on tap. If you're just hanging out, they're not gonna be on tap. You gotta have a wrist bracelet. A wristband to taste those beers. So it's like we definitely want it to be a beer experience. So we have some stuff lined up as far as like entertainment. We have a DJ that's off the chain. So our event's over at 8, but like this DJ is gonna take it into the the after hours. So we're like, just because the event's over, the vibe doesn't have to stop.
Right. There you go.
So
yeah, and just to touch on the 3 beers that we will be canning here at Oak Park. So at Oak Park, Roger's favorite style he's always talking about is an Imperial Red. So that's what we ended up brewing here at Oak Park. Working with Brew with Brothers, we ended up brewing a Black Belgian Triple, which is cool for me. It's a style I've never brewed before. It's malts I've never used before. It's a yeast I've never used before. And, I'm learning from homebrewers every day. So that, for me, it's very enlightening from that aspect, trying all these new ingredients. And then with Mr. Darrell at Beer Talk Now, him and Raj talked about doing an old-fashioned inspired beer. And this one was fun because it definitely pushed the limits of what we can do here from an ABV standpoint. We maxed out our mash tun. We couldn't get all the grain in.
No, we got it in. It just came out
on the floor. And so we added a ton of citrus, like orange zest, orange peel, and then we're gonna tweak it next week when he comes up to really dial in that old-fashioned flavor, but it's going to end up being about 13%. And the biggest beer we've done here to date is a 12.5% beer. So that's going to be a big one. And that's Darrell's always about talking about those high ABV beers that he likes. So and we're canning all 3 of those. So, the candle shipments will be pretty heavy on that ABV. So the lightest of all 3 is the Black Belgian Triple. That was, I think it's like 8.6. The Imperial Red's 9. And then we got a 13%. The lightest is 8.6. So
we can't forget, we can't discard the People's Lager. Right. That's the one that set it off. So we're gonna have that that one in the house, and it's like.
Can we get like a 4 candle pack?
Yeah, that's the 4 pack right there. Yeah, I like that.
We love candles.
I need 16. I need 4 of each.
16 candles.
16 candles.
Hey, just keep that on the low, right?
No, just candles, man. What low? What candles? Wicks?
Yeah.
It's fine to ship candles.
Yeah. We're talking about wicks and wax.
You're talking about Molly ring wall.
Right. A 15-year-old girl's dream. Isn't it? Don't 16-year-olds like? I don't know. Who cares?
All right.
I need 16 of them things. That's what I need, though.
I know. I told us a lot about the event. So I want to thank you all for coming on the podcast.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. This was phenomenal. I wish again that we were closer, that we could be a part of it. I am planning to.
I've been checking flights.
Hey, Dad.
I
am planning to real quick.
We are a part of it.
I said, sorry to interrupt you, but you are part of it by being here with us tonight. So thank you.
So you guys gotta tell your story.
Exactly.
Go to the website and tell your story so we can post it up.
Yes,
Good point.
We want to hear your story, how you guys put this
got
all
into
together.
it and everything. Yeah. That's true.
Oh yeah,
so important.
We down.
Yeah, I will be honored to meet you guys. I'm gonna be out at the Oktoberfest in October out in LA. So I'm gonna be representing.
Doesn't it seem like it should be in like the Black Silver?
Hey, so we got the. I was sipping on this, the Scarlet. This is Kiki Suds beer.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we're trying to bring some of that down, and also the Herwell Kettle Sour with blueberry, mint, and lemon. So
blueberry, mint, and lemon.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all gonna like that.
Yeah.
I want to let you know.
So yeah, Dev, we'll see you, and we're gonna have a secret stash. So
all right, good. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be a good time. I'm actually driving from Oakland to LA. I'll be there a few days early. So
that's not close, is it?
No, it's
man, that's hella close. That's hella close.
It's close enough. I've done that drive many a times.
How far is it?
It's like
it depends on how
like
fast you're driving.
It's like
too.
6 hours.
Yeah.
It's like 6 hours. It's like a trip down the Carolinas for us.
Yeah. You're just still in the same state. That's the only thing.
The scenery is beautiful, though. I mean, you get to see where all of our really fruit, vegetables, and stuff come from. Obviously, it doesn't smell the best, but you also smell all the cattle and everything. You're going through the grapevine, through the mountains, but it's beautiful because it's like the weather is like 80, 90 degrees, but you can actually see the snow on the mountaintops as you're driving through the grapevine.
So just hold your nose and open your eyes.
Exactly. Or put that recirculating button on your vent. You know what I mean? You do that button. That's important.
Rob's got a story about his trip out here.
So when I was moving out to California, I went to Vegas the day before, like the night of Y2K. I was like, if shit's going down, I'm gonna be in Vegas. Yeah. So I made it through Y2K, jumped in my ride. You know, I'm driving to Sacramento. I got to be in Sacramento to go on tour with a band of homies, you know. So I go through, is it Modesto? Man, and I'm like,
where it starts smelling.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like smelling the armpits. And I roll the windows down, and that was the worst thing that I did. I was just like, oh my god. Yeah. But you get past that. I mean, it's it's been a thrill to be in Sacramento, and you know, it's one of those things like, man, everything happens for a reason. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now.
That's right. So, that's awesome. Y'all are in the brewery now, aren't you guys? Because I know it's
we're actually in the people's room, the VIP room.
Nice.
Come to Sacramento.
Like I said, it's only an hour and a half. Yeah.
From where?
An hour and a half from Oakland, so it's a quick drive.
Well, see, the thing is, my mom lives in Bay Point, which is even closer to you guys in Sacramento. It's only, I think it's a little under an hour. She lives in Bay Point, so that's where I'll stay, and then I'll drive out. But I think by the time I get there, y'all be somewhat headed to. Well, y'all still.
Hey, we might scoop you up and you can roll with us.
Maybe I'll ride with y'all. I just need to be on my flight out of LA by Sunday.
Just have my flight. You might as well cancel that. You gonna miss your flight.
I don't know. I Uber myself now. I don't need that. I ain't gonna rely on them too much. But
I got a clock and a debit card. I'm out of here.
Exactly. But yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, just let us know, man. You're gonna be close to Oakland. You got to hit up Hella Coastal, man.
Yeah. I will. I talked to them at the Flow Fest about me seeing them when I touch down. They're excited to just to see us again. 1/4 of Brews and Banner podcast. We will be representing. We trying to be everywhere where there's brew and beer involved.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's also merchandise for People's Beer, right? I don't know if anybody.
Hey man, I got the artwork in the films today. So when I get off this live, like whatever it is, our Brews and Banter podcast, I'm taking my ass to the print shop to print up some People's merch and Oak Park merch. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do, man. It's we don't sleep.
Yeah,
we don't.
But you can buy People's merch. You can buy People's beer through our website, through the People's website, and we'll get that shipped out to you guys. So.
Okay.
Pint glass, everything. Okay.
We got pint glasses.
Well, Rob checking it out. I see. That's why he's looking to the left.
We got hats.
We got thongs coming.
I don't know about that, Raj.
What?
Yeah, that's what Raj wants. That's what Raj wants to say. Can we get the thong?
No, I don't.
I know people's pint glasses. Yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Nice.
Good deal.
No, man. Whatever you guys need, man, just hit us up. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's it. And that's all about sustainability. When you own your shit, you don't have to go to anybody else. So
true that.
Brew your story.
Yeah,
right. Can't wrap it up better than that.
That's right. Brew your story.
Right. Before we go, we always like to know how people can find all about Brew Your Story and Oak Park Brewing and People's Beer and all that good stuff. So before we wrap up, how can they find you, Mr. Mack? We'll start with you.
You can find me at tedmack.com. They actually have it done by the 2nd, and everything will be connected to everything Mac will be connected to that. The books, the podcast that I'm going to be doing, Conversation in Mac, will be there. Articles, and actually, I feel that this was a great experience with you guys. And on the 10th, which is the actual anniversary, I'm going to do a podcast then. But you know what? I've been looking for another podcast that did an interview with me that I would play during that time, because I'm going to actually interview my mother also.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
what
Wow.
I want to do is have another podcast, and if you guys are so gracious to let me to use this when you get done, I would do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can
That
use
would be
both
on
of
the
them.
10th, because that's going to be in the honor of my father after we do this, which is fantastic. But I'm going to do something separate for him on my own personal podcast.
Yeah, that would be
Alright.
great.
Nice.
Great.
All right.
Who's this ghost talking in the background? Is it-
The ghost.
Rod, Jeff.
How can they find you on the
You
World
can
Wide
find
Web?
us at Oak Park Brewing Company at OP Brewco. Raj.
Yeah, you can find me at Black Screw Beer on all platforms. There's little content, but there's going to be more. More
He's
coming.
doing it, man. And then obviously you can find us at Brew Your Story on Instagram and the World Wide Web.
Oh, yeah.
And we got People's Beer Co. as well. So those
Yeah.
are the 3 platforms we run on, 4 platforms we run on. So
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and I got to preface, Blacks is BLKS.
yes.
Brew Beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
There it
Thank
is.
you. Come again.
Jeff?
Oh, no A. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Thanks, Lou Ghostlin.
Ghostman, I like it.
Dev, how can they find you?
You can find me anything beer related. You can find me on Instagram at Deb Drinks Craft Brew, just like you see it spelled.
Anything beer related.
Is there another one? You got
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Why? You're not used to me saying
Yeah,
more.
beer related. It was
Everything
like
beer related. No, that's a new one.
Everything beer related. I do separate my Facebook and my Instagram. Family stuff on Facebook and beer related on Instagram. So hey, anything beer related,
Go to Instagram. There you
All right,
go.
Lou?
I'm on them Instagrams. My name is Lou Belgium.
All right. Yo?
for everything BS related, you can find me on.
Oh, BS related. I like it.
You can find me
with
on
the shit.
Instagram. Yeah, you know my shit.
That's right.
But you can find me on Instagram at IM302 Yoda.
Why? Oh, you forgot that part.
Yep. Okay. IM302 YODA.
I'm really happy that you say 0 and not O.
I am too. I am too.
It's like,
That's very
I don't know. I
important.
say O all the time.
Yeah.
302, baby.
It's 3-0.
O's, that's a southern
letter.
thing because we all know O's not a letter,
Right.
like O's not a number, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
do that
shape.
too, though.
302 Yoda.
It sounds better when
302
you
sounds
say
better than
302, though.
302. That sounds.
Yeah.
That sounds.
302 sound like you're just trying to get rid of it. Like it's a problem. You got a problem with it in your mouth or something. Like
Right.
just enunciate.
Hurry up and get out of
302.
here, 302.
302 sound dope.
Thanks, Rob.
No, dope.
That's not what you said. He didn't say what you said sounded dope. He said,
I'll ride with it.
he said thank you. Thank you anyway.
Cheers.
You knocked them both out. Nice.
And you can find Bruising Banter Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and you can check us out on Twitter on Bruising P. But you can type in Bruising Banter Podcast; it'll still come up. You can listen to the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can even go to www.bruisingbanter.com, and you can check out all the platforms we are on. Even get the merch if you want to. And if you want to follow me, Rob G, there it is. Rob Stay Bruising.
Hit it.
Once again, we want to thank Mr. Mack and Roger Jeff from Oak Park Brewing for coming out.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Yo, we
Hey,
love
we
to have
appreciate
you
you
guys.
guys, man.
Thank you, guys.
Once you come on the show, you are now honorary Brew Crew member. So
I've been on here twice.
Especially because that double shot. They were on
Extra
episode 90, right? Did you say
Nice.
episode 90?
Episode 90 and this episode 136.
Yep. This has been episode 136 of Brews and Banter Podcast. Until next time.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yoda, I dig it.
You gonna open them things or just one?
Whoa,
I felt like something I should have at a Harvest Fest.
That's Jubilee music. That's Jubilee music for real.
That sound like
Hey, come on, man.
That's like Earth, Wind & Fire. Is that like a
Hey, that's like Jeff. I'm gonna start tap dancing in this.
Yeah.
Nah, that's our brother Mac. Took him back.
That's back in my day, man. That's back when I used to do what I do, man.
Hey,
Oh, yeah. Back over there.
Hey, fella.
Look at him.
Hey, fellas, on the real, man. You guys keep doing it, and I can shoot this your way. Gone but not forgotten. That's
Okay.
the next big thing. That's
Okay.
the next big thing. Yeah.
Okay, not
Hey,
forgotten.
it's gonna shake everybody up. You think you get away with something? You don't. Gone but not forgotten.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds real gangster with it.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Backyard.